Alrighty, hello, it's Liz, and this is what my YouTube music recap looks like almost every month, and I've been a Guilty Gear fan for a good part of the last 5 years since my friend gifted me Plus R and changed me forever. I do not number a lot of hours in the games due to spending more time on single-player games and having a huge fighting game catalog I play with my friends, but Guilty Gear has consumed my life in what videos I watch, what communities I'm in, and, of course, what music I listen to. I also have to state I hold no qualifications in judging music, never having played an instrument and having music theory and history class until 12th grade. So this is more passionate fan speaking than a serious review, so brace yourself for vagueness and nonsense. Death of Myself, aka Venom's Strive theme, aka Strive's second foray into alphabetical metaphor, starts off pretty fine lyrically. Overall, I really like this line as the beginning line of the song, especially as it gets wrapped around later on. This honestly gave me pretty high hopes the first time I listened, and had me already thinking about where the song is going to go while the first instrumental part of the song played. It touches on the simple part of Venom's character, as his blind devotion to Zato and later the Guild was not only his only reason to live, but also the only happiness he got from his life up until the ending events of Exard, so the line is clearly alluding to the type of happiness he had back then. The first verse already had me raising my eyebrows though, and for a variety of reasons. Not to read the whole thing here, because I don't have much to say, but it is a line about nihilism and overthinking portrayed through a line of thought. And though this is a major part of Venom's character, it is one that more so defined him before finding all his reasons to live, though it can be argued that he still struggled with it to end up rooting his life after he faked his death to become a baker, leaving a lot of things behind, including his previous reason to live. However, this verse is also the first part of the song that, in my opinion, sounds like shit.
From ecstasy, a simple classification means this words and sounds were also created.
The jumping over words, combined with a drastic difference in pace between lines, to the point that the final words of the verse are extremely stretched out while others are just blurted in a second, gave a very unappealing sound. It can be argued that the off pace is due to the emotional instability of Venom, but the soundtrack has managed to portray instability in much better ways other times. And in comes a song that I want to compare this to the most, its predecessor, Call Shot. Venom's theme from Exard is honestly one of my favorite songs from the soundtrack, and despite being completely instrumental, does feel emotional enough to have brought me near tears several times when I listened to it. It is also largely because I can say I related a lot to the struggles that Venom faced in Exard's and XX's stories, so the song portrayed emotions I could resonate with. But onto my argument. This song portrays the instability through the same device at certain points, jumping from short to long notes rapidly, though it is much less jarring considering the instrument used isn't the human voice. It also helps that the backing track is as well really overpowering, making the jarring changes simultaneously less noticeable, but also better represent the severity of the instability. That intensity in the audio is then, later in the song, used to show the strength of his resolve once the tempo stabilizes itself, serving a beautiful double purpose. And yes, this video will also be about me gushing over Call Shot, you have been warned. Now, on to 10th of Myself's bridge. Nice payoff, no notes. Sounds still kind of suboptimal, but it introduces the full bridge, contrasting it to the beginning. At the start, we were only ever introduced to Venom's concept of happiness at the time of Exard, and the other idea wasn't even presented. But now the openness to other sources of happiness is presented, allowing the song to finally develop, which it kind of does. The second verse does allude to character progression, but it only makes the song worse while doing it.
I'm a phantom now living a new kind of life. All my work has turned to the side of an end.
It directly states the transformation of his life, not leaving any room for subtlety. The only lyrical device being used is the metaphor of a phantom, which is just the nickname that Venom has in the story, and the symbol of an ant is something small. And again, musically, this just doesn't sound good. The second line has 11 words total, and it is only a sign of what is to come. The verse finishes pretty nicely though. It goes as such. The big picture. Only when that phrase finally left my head, I came to understand life more profoundly than when it was a warrior. It is still extremely direct, but it uses more interesting language. He doesn't stop thinking about the big picture. He chose to identify things as big and small, reassess what matters and what doesn't, and in that found that he doesn't need to constantly wager life and death to find meaning in existence again. So overall, this one writes pretty well. Now, how does it sound? I have no words to say here, honestly. The lines are so long, I half expected to start hearing by the end of them. And there is no reason for them to be this long either. The finally in the second line just doesn't need to be there. It is a adjective that does nothing to actually send the message being portrayed other than exaggeration. And the second line can just be rephrased ever so slightly. Came to understand, goes to understood, and all of a sudden the line doesn't have 21 syllables. 18 still isn't great, but it is just me giving an example that making these lines overly long was a writing decision, and one that I find hard to understand. I respect the writing that went into this song, and I am not arguing I could have done a better job, but the decision to make the lines overly long sends a message that is already portrayed in other ways in the song while sacrificing how well the song flows. I will no longer talk about this one aspect of the song, but to know it does persist throughout every verse and a bit through the chorus. Notably though, it isn't a problem in the first pre-chorus. This one just kind of feels off. I know I've been using the word a lot, but it is the best descriptor. It feels a bit late into the song to be hit with this line, and it only serves to make the progress that was felt in the previous one feel a bit set back. I guess it serves to build up the chorus, but it does still feel like it puts the emotional progression bar at its current lowest point, which is excusable but very jarring with the bridge working antithetically to it. And with that, we finally get to the chorus. I won't play this part in full because it is just begging to get this video claimed, but also because it is the genuine only part that I can say I musically like. The flow is only slightly off, feeling more jittery than random. It feels like it has highs and lows in its tempo, and I also do still like it lyrically. I would recommend you listen to the song no matter what. It takes 5 minutes of your time and lets you understand everything I say better, but if there is one part you should listen to for the purposes of hearing good music, the chorus does a good job and makes me feel more disappointed that the rest of the song doesn't feel as good. And that summarizes my thoughts for the following verse and chorus as well. Same complaints as before, same compliments as before. I must say that the second pre-chorus is much better than the first, both in terms of sound and lyrics. I legitimately got hyped up when the line plays, but don't let the compliments make you forget that there is a whole verse before this, and sadly after. Honestly, the main reason I want to make this video is due to the last verse of this song. As mentioned before, I love Call Shot, and I love that it conveys so much emotion, not in spite of its lack of lyrics, but more so because of it. The nature of the song makes its way of sending messages require more thinking, or at the very least, more concentration. Without being able to rely on what the song tells you, you have to rely on how you can feel the song, and how that feeling and sound may hold its own meaning. It is one part that I feel most of them myself did okay at. Some parts definitely did it better than others, with an honestly large amount of metaphors, though not all of them are made equal. And this is where I had hope with the last verse. It starts on a very high note, not literally, but its lyrics make a call back to the start of the song in a nice way. In the first verse, prime numbers were referred to as numbers that defy division, while also being put next to meaningless words and sounds. This created a pretty stark image of what a prime number is, something that goes against the grain, something that ignores the general rule, but also something with no meaning of their own. And that is expanded on with lines of sympathy, ones that are paced in a way that sounds like the singer might even begin crying due to the repetitions made in the lines.
Prime numbers can share with many others. I thought it was a tragedy. I thought it was loaded. Sometimes I thought it was special.
honestly, this was giving me a lot of hope. It is also a part that I think sounds pretty dang good. Not great, but it made me think that, you know what, if this keeps going, at least I can say I like the second half of the song. And it kept going great too for the following two lines as well.
But it's just another like everyone else. It's just great to be called one day.
Just mwah, great. Beautiful. We have gone back to the starting theme, one that lumped all of the universe together, while the meaning the narrator came back to it, expanded on it with pity, or more accurately, pain that is felt in this perceived isolation from being different. And then we had a nice conclusion that those feelings do not reflect one's worth, or maybe not even reality itself. The tragedy, loneliness, and specialty that came with these numbers that went against the grain still didn't mean that they had to live any differently, that they didn't have to die any differently, bringing a nice metaphor to Venom's conclusion, wherein his special background didn't have to decide his future, didn't bind him to the shadows. He was free to live an ordinary life if he so wished, and it did not require him to stop being special in his own way because he is still himself, a person that is divisible in his own way, and we managed to portray this beautiful message all through a long-winded, mostly subtle metaphor with many layers that requires thought and concentration to understand. But this is not the last line of the verse.
You don't accept the fact that I'm tragic, lonely, and special at the same time.
And you had to ruin it. You had to ruin it. God, this fucking line. I cannot begin to explain how much I hate this line. The reason I am making this video is largely to put my hatred for this line to rest. There are positives in that it feels like a possible line of thought from a person overthinking their own life and relating it to a string of thought. And that's it. That is actually the only positive. And even then, it would be better portrayed by a gentle silence, a calm note before the bridge, or hell, you don't even need anything. The bridge itself works so well as a follow-up to this verse, showing the decision and freedom that comes in one's life, further reinforcing what was just said before, what I am from here on dubbing the shit-ass line. But instead, the shit-ass line has to come in, put all the focus on Venom himself rather than his actions or life, only for us to cut back to that part the moment the bridge starts. It removes any sort of subtlety that was had up until this point. It removes the flow of the storytelling, and would you be surprised if I told you that this is the longest line in the song? And it makes me sad. Guilty Gear has a cast of characters that I fucking adore. And so the position of my favorite character is something I consider to be a high title. And for a long time now, that title has been held by the Q-wielding Phantom himself. And when I went to listen to his theme and X art and got genuinely emotional, it facilitated not only him as my favorite character even more, but I grew to love how his story can be interpreted in song. So when he finally got announced for Strive and his theme got released, and not only was it nowhere near as good as I wanted it to be, but it was also the first Strive theme I genuinely disliked, it made me feel even more passionate about the song. Of course, I didn't expect this song to be Call Shot 2. I don't want to come off as the same people that shit on Strive because it isn't XR Drive 3. I just wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it, but I don't. And I have so many reasons that I don't. But hey, in the grand scheme of things, I got more arcade content for my favorite guy, more people have been exposed to the exaggerated swag of a black baker than ever before, and Call Shot will always exist. So listen to it. Listen to both. Or listen to none. You have free will. Hello, it is Afterward Liz. I have honestly always wanted to do this kind of thing at least once. I guess I'm here to just kind of explain fucking everything. I'm moving away from the Senjutsu content. I'm trying to just kind of make videos that I want to make. I have a few projects coming up that I'm not sure how quickly I'll finish, but we'll see. I am going to uni in like a month. And so I am hoping that I will be able to make videos there. I'm editing on a laptop now. This means a few things. One of the main things it means is that I don't have any of my previous footage because I had that on my PC whose hard drive got corrupted and now it doesn't work anymore. So that's fun. As you can see, I'm also kind of dabbling in drawing by the background footage. If everything is in order, I should have the speed paint up on my second channel and the full drawing up on Blue Sky. Not sure if it will be done by the time that this video is uploaded, but probably not. Just keep an eye out for it if you are that interested. I am hoping to draw more like collab pictures between media that I like. This one is for Venom and Death Parade. I talk about it more in the speed paint. I'm also working on a lot of other projects that I'm sort of updating people on Blue Sky with. I'll probably be uploading a few videos for them as well. Definitely on the second channel, at the very least, I'll be making some videos like devlogs for what I'm making and that type of shit, like videos of what I'm learning. But yeah, no, life has been busy. I'm going to a new country that is speaking a different language that I'm currently trying to learn. And so I don't know what my accommodation is going to be there, whether I'll have roommates, whether I'll have space, whether I'll fucking have home internet. But we will see. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to make videos wherever I go. And I am really hoping that this will not be yet another case of Liz saying that she's going to make videos at her new accommodation and then not making videos for a fucking year like it did with my college. But hey, even there I managed to upload a few videos, so who knows? Maybe it won't be monthly like I want it to be, but I'll make videos. I never do not make videos. Alrighty, peace out until next time, or I guess see you elsewhere. Bye bye.